Are you really doing the silent
I'm
countdown?
I'm actually like doing I went 5, 4. You can hear my hand.
No, I can't hear hands.
Oh, you
I'm
can't hear it
not
like
deaf.
no, it's coming by. 5, 4.
I don't know what all that's about.
Too early in the show to say.
Welcome to Aluminum
That's a spork. Just imagine it.
Where mysteries
Why can't AI
come
make
to
a spork?
talk.
Crazy. Because I'm
From
no,
ancient
the spork is there like
underground to UFOs that float around. Giants of the past, prophetic signs that last, archaeological fights, and strange unexplained lights. Aluminum Spork, where truth and legends intertwine. From pyramids to guidestones blown, to secrets carved in ancient stone, we're diving deep into the unknown.
I love this part.
Hancock's theories we explore, while Congress opens UFO doors. From Göbekli Tepe's rise to jellyfish in darkened skies, mound builders of old, stories left untold, hidden history's core. We're questioning it all. Aluminum Spork, your weekly dose of mystery. From ancient text to modern day, we'll light up truth's hidden way. Join us as we investigate where conspiracy meets reality, and history holds its secrets tight. On Aluminum Spork tonight.
All right. Watch out for them jellyfish. What up, everybody? Yes, we updated the opening. Nice for you to be here, my good friend Soul Assassin. I'm going to talk like I meant to do everything I'm doing right now. Yeah, because that's just who I am.
Yep. Hey, Jane.
Yep. All right, everybody. So how are we doing tonight? I am Scott. This is Aluminum Spork. This is Sporky News Podcast. What is it again? The most important?
No, the
I have to write
best
this down.
utensil themed channel
Best-
on any platform.
Best utensil themed channel in the world.
Awesome.
In the world. So
We-
tonight we are going to be talking
Fix it in
the
editing.
Hollow Earth theory. Hollow Earth goes back millennia, to the Sumerians, the Greeks, the Aztecs, Native American. Many cultures have an idea of beings from the inner earth coming into our the outer earth, either after a cataclysm or to not even just that, just to bring knowledge, but usually after a cataclysm like a flood to bring back, knowledge of agriculture, civilization, things like that. They are usually a much more advanced species, much bigger than us, farther along in technology and spirituality, waiting for us to catch up. And we see if we ever will. In more recent times, you go back to Edmund Halley, Halley's Comet, who believed in inner Earth, and John Quincy Adams, the 16th president, right? Right, man?
It should be stated, though, that Haley was not crazy. He had a letter from his doctor that he would send along with his pamphlets and shit saying, hey, this guy, he's not crazy. As any sane person would do.
Any sane person would make sure that when you're sending a letter about a theory of yours, you started off with, my doctor says I'm not nuts. or at least like my mom said I got it together. You know,
That's
like you
like
need one
saying
of those.
it's like saying, "What? No, my grandma says I'm the most handsomest man, like the little man in all the world."
All the world.
How dare you?
My
My
mom says
grandma's
I'm the
never lied.
greatest singer. My mom says I'm the greatest singer. You know, so you guys need to listen. Uh, Here's Tom Sawyer, mean try. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean try. Yeah. So, what are your feelings on the inner Earth, my friend?
That's
Oh,
complete
and Mad
bullshit.
Mardigan is here with us tonight.
Yep. Hey, how's it going? It's Mad Mardigan from Mad's new channel. I'm here. Machiavelli. Mad Pot
Yep.
Choppa.
Oh, damn.
Yep, I got names. Yeah, no, I think it's bullshit, but I do think that
Sixth president. Shit. Sorry.
well, I think there's an entire civilization in the middle of the earth is bullshit. But I think that we really don't know. I feel like there's some caves, like some caverns, like some empty spaces throughout there. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
but I don't think it's gonna have like underground people.
I think we're too arrogant. We're too arrogant scientists and intellectuals that say there's no chance of a hollow earth. Science cannot prove that the core is solid and then there's molten around. They can't prove that. They have been for generations proving themselves wrong. Okay. So there is no proof that the planet is not hollow. I agree with you. Is there, an inner sun and all this? I don't know. But can life just find a way to grow and live in the weirdest and most inhospitable places? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Right. On vents at the bottom of the ocean, like with extreme pressure and high heats and high chemicals that, animals survive. So like the idea that there is no large cavities that has some type of life with bioluminescence so that they can see. I mean, I don't know. I like to think at least it is not as crazy as, and for me, the hollow earth is one of those that like, oh God, I really want to say I just believe it. But like we can't prove it wrong. We have not been able to prove it wrong. When we have an earthquake, seismic readings don't go down. They go around the planet. Why don't they go into the planet? I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but that just seems weird to me. We all our data is on seismic readings. We've only gone 8 miles of the 400 miles because it got too hot, So I don't know. I don't know what to believe, but there's been so many ancient mythology about it. And it just seemed, and there are worlds we know of that are, stories down where 20,000 people lived underground. So like the idea that people can't live underground is ridiculous to me. I mean, they were probably under there for a while after a cataclysm. So I don't know. What do you think?
About the underground people?
Yeah. Jane, you're wrong, actually. We all think we have images, but it's it's not from actual like we physically have not seen it. That's
no. I think I've read an article not too long ago, and I read an article. I think I saw the title as I was scrolling through Google News about that they found some hollow parts or some shit, something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they found water. Now the water was like in a crystallized level, but as much as water we have up here, I think
it was more, wasn't it?
It was more. Yeah, it would fill it. Yeah, more than all the oceans on the planet underground. This is the one that makes me like pull back. It's the tectonic plates, like the idea that the Earth's crust is always moving, but if you are below that, does it affect you as much? I don't know.
No, of course not.
Because the crust is only
well, yeah, you'll be looking up. You're like, man, those places are moving.
Yeah, it could be like the night sky. It could be like the night sky for them. Oh, look at oh, look, America's over us. It must be summer. I don't know.
Imagine Plato and in the core cave.
Yep. But they tell us they know, but they cannot. Like I've watched videos of scientists saying we know the earth is not hollow. And then, well, can you say definitively it is not. And they're like, well, no, but it is not hollow. Like, okay. So you can't definitively say it's not have massive, like I'm not going with the whole Haley's idea. I'd rather follow Tibet, where there is an inner city somewhere that they're guarding, and they've been guarding for millennia, monks. So I like that. All right, let's check your live science, Jane.
By the way, Soul Assassin's correct though. There are giant crystals, magma in Aaron Eckhart, because I saw the core too, and I don't know why it's not a good movie, but it's one of my favorite movies. I watched it.
Great bad movie.
I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And we have found giant crystals just recently in Mexico. I mean, they found those massive crystals in Mexico. They're huge, and that wasn't that far down. But just from the heat and moisture, I guess they grew so big. I'll get a picture of that. But okay, I can't cut and paste that, Jane. And you're not on anything anymore. Now I have to Google stuff. Livescience.com. Okay. But there, a lot of the history talks about entrances at the North and South Pole. But I don't think, if there were to be weaker parts of the planet, the way the planet developed, it would be the North and South, because the majority of the spin I can never say this word. Centrifugal force. Can you say it?
Yeah, centrifugal force.
Yeah, I solely screw that up. Wouldn't bring it like almost more donut. So it would be thicker around the center and thinner at the poles. And they don't like to show us pictures of the North Pole.
Or
no, they do
Antarctica not. Either, where the South Pole is.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I wonder why they do that. They even they like to blur it out on Google Maps and stuff like that. So you tell me. I
think they're trying to hide something that may be more on the flat side of things.
My friend. You know what I'm talking about. They are criminals, and they all
go
work
to the North Pole and Antarctica, Jane.
Yeah.
Have you ever been?
Yeah. Have you been there, Jane? Because there's probably some weird ritual, and they make you swear on something that you can't deny.
You have to, you have to get on bended knee in front of a giant wood carving of an owl.
Yeah. And you're in a toga.
Yeah.
Not like a really nice looking toga, that, makes you look nice.
But it's insulated. It's an insulated toga. It's Antarctica.
Yeah. So that's nice. Yeah. You got to keep people warm.
Yeah.
God, this is taking me forever. Gesundheit. All right. Let's see what we got here, Jane. She's so smart. Look at me. I'm usually right.
Oh, I got platinum on Elden Rings.
Ooh, look at my platinum. I can't click on it here. Oh, I could have went to YouTube and clicked on it. That's right, Jane. See? Miss Smarty Pants.
It's Inside Earth Live Science. Never heard of them.
Yeah. It sounds like one of those fringe ones. The center of the Earth lies around 4,000. I actually said 400 miles under our feet. But what lies beneath the outer crust and the inner core? That is propaganda right there, people. But yet they do have concentric rings. Was Haley right?
I mean, he was right about that comet.
Yep. The center of the Earth is almost 4,000 miles. And for you non-Americans, 6,400 kilometers beneath our feet. To put that into context, the deepest humans have ever drilled is 7.6 miles. And it took geologists nearly 20 years to get that far, according to Smithsonian Magazine. The Smithsonian.
They didn't have the Bruce Willis drill?
No. I think they were Russians. So it was probably made out of like copper, Get another one.
Russia, American, all made in Taiwan.
That's awesome. All right, let's see what we got here. Fortunately, scientists don't have to burrow inside our planet's study. By measuring seismic waves traveling through Earth, researchers have developed a solid understanding. Yeah, this once again, I call baloney on this. Internal structure, what's inside the Earth. Now, what year is this from? Is this recent? Okay, so this is 2023, because I've seen articles recently that, hey, the Earth's core is a little more mushy than scientists thought. Like we're finding out every day they're wrong. I'm not saying don't trust science, but you should question it. Don't trust it. Planet Earth is Planet Earth is broadly composed of crust, mantle, and core. The crust hosts all known life, all known. That's what they're trying to tell you. But it's merely Earth's outer casing, accounting for only 1% of the planet's total volume. 1%. That's insane. The mantle or middle Earth layer makes up 84% of the Earth's volume, and the innermost layer, the core, makes up the final 15, according to Illinois. People in Illinois don't know what they're talking about. There is water at the bottom of the ocean. Talking. Yes, that was a good one. I like that. Russia dug the deepest hole. Yeah. Humans have gone, and before the mic melted, all they hears was screams. Yeah, there was something weird about screams. You're right. They reported hearing strange moans and screaming, not just like creaking and cracking of the earth, but like strange stuff. Let's see. I watched them go to the North Pole on Top Gear. Yeah. Okay. This is not flat Earth, young lady. Okay. This is hollow Earth. Okay. We're not nuts.
Nope.
We are theorists.
Totally different.
Yeah. It's hugely, hugely different.
Now, they say that not all flat earthers are hollow earthers, but all nope. Not all hollow earthers are flat earthers, but all flat earthers are hollow earthers.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is all, to me, this is all guessing. They're all guessing. It's just guessing. Okay, maybe a little more than guessing. They're using, seismic readings, but every day they find something different. So
eggs are bad for you. Ooh, eggs are good for you. Okay.
Yeah. Right now we're on the eggs are good for you kick. Oh, you remember margarine?
Oh, you remember Surge?
Right? Tab.
What was the one made out of bat shit?
Guana? What?
Yeah. What was it? It was had a panther on it. On the bottle, a black.
It was
panther.
A drink?
Yes.
I never had that.
Oh, you missing out on
crazy.
that good bet, Guana.
That is crazy, dude. I've never heard that.
That's a real thing.
This guy's only a writer anyways. You don't know what he's talking about. So good try, Jane, but you failed. There's so many legends about it. There has been there's multiple places that people believe are entrances to the inner earth in North America. Canada has quite a few. Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. People believe Mount Shasta, that we'll talk about, is maybe like the one that, if you want a stream about ghosts, Hollow Earth, aliens, and Bigfoot all in one, it's Mount Shasta. I mean, it's nuts.
What's that one place that has a hole and like people go down there but they never come back out, like they throw stuff in there? I forgot what the hole is called.
Oh, Mel's Hole.
There you go.
Yeah, Mel's Hole.
Know it.
Oh, hell yeah, I know it. Mel's Hole is one of those that for many years on Coast to Coast, they, you would get updates on Mel's Hole, and it was just something that was some type of warp of space time, but we're also finding out, like, there are moments, and there are times on our planet where there are particles that connect directly to the sun, and they may last very short periods. They may last longer, but there is weird stuff going on that we don't understand about our own planet. Like, I'll have to find that article I was reading, but it was really strange. Like, it's some type of direct line to the sun that they're sharing almost in the same space time. So it's like almost not a wormhole, but a wormhole. Like, they are literally the same place at the same moment on the sun and on our planet, because these particles are connected. Sounds crazy. But your science taught me that, Jane.
By the way, I could do
Hand
the
splendor.
100% on Elden Ring if I played it. I just don't want to play it.
Totally. I bought Conan how many years ago? I'll finally start playing
you
it.
played it for no, it's too late. No one's playing it anymore. You missed
That's
out.
when I play stuff. I tried to bring up 2K21, but basketball, but it wouldn't let me play.
21?
Yeah, I forgot it was even on my computer.
Way,
I love 2K.
Oh yeah, I get it every year, not 2K2.
I get it every 5 to 6.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could do that because it would make such a big difference in my enjoyment of the newest one because there's such a gap and so much advancements. You know what I mean? Like it's like, holy shit, this is way different.
Remember Tang? It's made out of orangutans. Confirmed. Soul Assassin.
Well, yeah, they're urine. That's why it's orange.
I want everybody to know I'm working on merch. I showed my wife my merch TeePublic store, and she was just depressed that I put that out there. So she's going to start working on stuff. Oh man, yeah, Mel's hole, not to be confused with Jerry's. What is that? Oh yeah, Jerry's glory hole.
Oh, how dare
I would play it right now, but that would be too cheap. That would be too cheap.
We got a new coach.
What is this? Yeah, I'll play it. Soul also says, good thinking. There's nobody named Mel in the chat. Watch your hole. I like that. All right. So let's move on to some of the holes. I want to show a couple of the maps throughout history, some fun facts about the Hollow Earth. Maybe I could show you where different spots they believe. All right, bud. So here's one. This is one of those fun facts ones. Okay. The Hollow Earth, fact or fiction. All right. So North Pole is at the top and saucers to Venus fly in and out. Admiral Byrd's flight, 1947, where in his diary, which we can't prove is real or not, because it was after his death and his son supposedly found it. But it talks about him flying over the Arctic, and all of a sudden the snow starts to disappear and it's more tropical, and he sees mammoths, and it's so true, probably.
What is this nonsense on your screen? What is the Hollow Earth?
This is a fun way to teach kids about the Hollow Earth.
Central Sun?
Yeah, that's your central sun. Agartha, land of the advanced race. Some people say, so you see how the mantle is like the outer ring? I believe that gravity would cause you on the inner Earth not to fall off of it. So there's pulling from both sides into it. Yeah.
Here's what I don't get. How
everybody knows that.
Here's what I don't get. How do they know the names of these countries and these cities and shit in a place they're not allowed to go and never been? Like city of Shambhala.
Shambhala. Okay. That is
how the fuck you know that's what it's called?
Because that was, I want to say the Mayans, or if that was the Tibet one. I think it's the Mayans. It could be the Tibet one. So there really is. In Tibet, you have the Dalai Lama, who is the like spiritual leader of Earth, and his people protect the inner Earth, who has the actual king of Earth, who lives on the inner Earth. This is their beliefs. So
Doctor Strange becomes the and
now you're just talking nonsense. Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's what you're basically,
you're making fun of someone's religious beliefs.
Bro, the way you're describing it, they protect the Earth from what?
There's monks,
from beings from the different dimensions.
No, from us going there. They're in the Himalayas. Supposedly there are monks that protect the entrance to the inner
Why?
Earth, because they don't want idiots like us finding it.
Why?
Advanced technology that could maybe destroy this planet.
That's the same bullshit reason they gave in the 1954 Greada Treaty with the Asgardians.
Yeah. It may be real too.
I think we have a bad rep as Earthers, like Earth beings. I think we have a bad
they all
rep
think we're psychotic.
Yeah, nobody wants to give us any type of technology because they think we're gonna blow. It's we are the 7-year-old begging for a BB gun. You're like, no, you're not getting a BB gun. You're gonna shoot your eye out. Like, come on, man, give it to me.
So some of these are the entrances. You have Mount Epomeo in Italy, Pyramid of Giza. People believe under there, and we every couple of years we find out that it actually goes deeper under the Great Pyramid. There is rivers, there's tunnels. I mean, we find more and more that a lot of the Egyptian pyramid might be underneath, not the actual form, but like just levels down into the inner earth. King Solomon's mine may be an entrance. Dero Cave.
The Michael Douglas movie?
I'm trying to be real here, bro.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, King Solomon was known for his wisdom and riches, and they believe that King Solomon's mine was not like a gold mine, but copper. And recently, they have found a massive copper mine from the time of King Solomon. So, science.
Is that the same place where the crazy ass apes are protecting all the diamonds? And you got to get Amy, the talking gorilla, to come. Ugly gorilla.
Yeah, okay. Dero Caves. So they believe 400 miles down is the center of gravity. So on both sides, it goes 400 miles down, center of gravity, another 400 miles in, that's where they are. So in 800 miles, we would find the actual inner earth and where you can stand inside. And think about this. People laugh, haha, that can't be it. Beep, 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 beep. How do they want to design deep space shuttles? They want to design them for massive colonies spinning so that people, it forms a gravity. So people will be pressed up against the inner walls. Well, guess what? That's what our planet already does, inner earth people. Boom.
Inner earth people?
Yeah, you know it. That tariffs in the center of the earth? No, they don't need them. They don't need them because they didn't give up. They didn't fall for that SJW bullshit, Liam. So they didn't need to.
Plus, they won't allow us to. They're the ones that won't trade with us.
Yeah, dude, no. They would put a tariff on us, and we'd have to deal with that.
Are you kidding?
Totally. Oh, dude, with
we
their
would
technology?
be deported. You think the immigration issue is bad now in the U.S.?
Yep.
Imagine if we had access; they would be deporting us all the time.
Oh my God! Please don't send me back to America. LiDAR, I believe you mean, has shown the Great Pyramid is 4 times larger, at least, than what we can see. Amen, bro. That's the truth. Why don't you just join us, Brian? You have so much knowledge, dude. So there's other tunnels. This is the key if you need a little key. Brazil, you have the Iguaçu Falls, Mato Grosso, Manaus. Nailed all those. And then
absolutely.
Mammoth Caves. What does this say? Awesome. Height of atmosphere 200 miles. Okay, wow. And while you're in inner Earth, you have different cities. Yeah.
Can you scroll up just a hair?
Yeah.
So what is this? Saucer to Venus. So aliens make it in there all the time, apparently. They live on Venus.
Are they actually from inner Earth and they're just traveling to a nice hot springs? We don't think
they have like a summer home on Venus?
Venus. We don't know what's at the down under the.
Yeah, everything has to be inside of the planets because if not, then
it'd be pretty hot.
Let's see. Test atom blast. Cold air rushes back to Earth through center of shaft.
Don't know.
Those things don't seem like they go together. What is this?
I don't know. Maybe that's what awoken some of them to come and be like, dude, cut the shit. I'll read a little something here. Let's see if I can find it. I'll find it. Don't you worry.
Okay. Because I'm also doing things in the back. I'm getting ready for my my premiere live stream at 9:15 Central, right after the show, where we're going to be talking about the real Crocodile Dundee.
That's pretty impressive, guys.
Make sure you check it out. the second episode of Mad EPAP. What's that? What happened to the first episode? Well, we recorded it and I'm editing it and I will premiere it later.
Birds aren't real. We all know this already. The inner earthers are in disguise, or they're like drones. Think about it, Jane. Maybe George R.R. will actually talk about flat Earth and the ice wall. I don't know. That's one you just can't get me on the flat Earth. I'm sorry. I can't even pretend to believe in that one.
Oh man, it's so. I love watching. I found this new dude. Forgot his name, but he's a flat earther, and the nonsense he comes up with is bananas. I love it.
Like what? Talk to me.
Oh, I'm gonna be mad fapping it.
Oh, good. Let me know about that one. I would love to join you on a mad fap of that.
Yep.
Now we got this one. This is a little different, and it'll show you how things work a little bit. Okay, so inverted Earth, hollow Earth model. You see how things, I don't know what this means. The sun kind of goes around the center and then things spin. Center of gravity again, 400 miles down. Okay.
They keep saying central sun. Do they mean core?
Well, people believe that, is the core actually a center sun that brings light to this inner Earth? Now, I don't believe it looks like this. I can't believe it would be that open 800 miles down. But I do have beliefs that there is ways life finds to grow. I mean, I really do. Oh, Jane, you rock. And he's not talking in the chat, but Jane just made emotionally unstable amphibian, who I haven't seen in a while. I'm glad to know you're still around, my friend. What's sponsor. Up, thank you, Jane. You're the best. Nukes aren't real either. Whoa. That one's a take. That one's rough. I don't know. I
feel like there's a whole country of people that were like, no, those are pretty real.
Yeah. Yeah, Japanese people right now.
Yes.
Is like, what an ass. Just kidding, CJ. Yeah, I don't trust the Smithsonian after the things they have done that we know of. Okay, right? Like they dumped like thousands, tens of thousands of bones into the Hudson River that we recently were found, that were given to them from a place up in Alaska. And they just dumped it into the river because when the new owner went to get them back, they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. So we had divers go into Hudson because someone gave them a hint, and there was mammoth bones and all these, just everything that was sent, just dumped into East River or the Hudson, one of the two. They don't believe in giants. So, thank you. Thanks again, Jane. It means a lot to me. That you support the channel. Spork sent you a video of a flat earther accidentally proving the earth is round. They always do, bro. They always do. So that's why I can't even try with them. But I can see why people believe in the inner earth.
Oh, the inner earth. Sorry, I thought you meant flat earth. I was like,
no. God, come on, man. Flat earth is just really hard for me to get behind. It's just some people found a way to make a lot of money off of it, and I feel like they take advantage of people looking to believe in something. The whole straight line flying and all this stuff. And the one thing I do want to say is, for the inner earth, is they do not allow commercial flights or unauthorized flights to fly over, even if it was a quicker route, the North or South Pole. They don't allow it. And that's who decided that?
Science.
Is it like a magnetic thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it probably has something to do with the difficulty that it would be to fly through that area, I would assume.
Of course it's round. It's also flat though. Okay, you got to prove that one to me, bro. That's tough to understand. But there have been a lot of people that have tried to explain it. Haley proposed that the inner Earth sphere might be inhabited and that the inner atmosphere was made up of luminescent gases that, when escaped outward, caused the aurora borealis. Okay, we might have proven that to be wrong. Later theorists came up with a variation to Halley's model. In the 17th century, Leonard Euler, Euler, proposed a single shell hollow Earth with a small sun, about one kilometer across at the center, providing light and warmth for the inner Earth civilization. Others proposed two inner suns and even named them Pluto and Proserpine. In the early 18th century, American John Cleves Sims Jr. supplemented the theory with the suggestion of blowholes, opening about 2.3 kilometers across at both poles. Sims apparently was utterly convinced by this own theory. He campaigned for an expedition. This was John Quincy Adams, who was our 6th president. The 16th was Grant. I don't know why I did that, but our 6th was John Quincy Adams. He was going to give him the funding for the expedition, but then Andrew Jackson needed those funds to kill the Indians. So when he won, he was like, sorry, don't want you to prove this scientific thing. We need to kill Indians. So he took the money back. The hollow Earth idea persists into the 20th century, when the study of plate tectonics and the like made it obvious that the Earth couldn't be hollow. Yet hollow Earth books and theories multiplied, many based on Sims' work. In 1913, Marshall Gardner wrote A Journey to the Earth's Interior, and even built a working model of his hollow Earth, patented it. So the dude was smart. He made a patent. More recently, theories suggest that the hollow Earth is inhabited by creatures that fly UFOs across our skies, or by dwarves, dragons, and or other lost races and ascendant masters of I always screw up this word. Esoteric wisdoms.
Nice.
Thanks. Did I get it?
Yeah.
Some proposed new blowholes are located, like I said, Mount Shasta, which is, if you guys want, I'll do a whole stream about Mount Shasta. That is a freaky place. That's in California. Mammoth Cave, Matos Grasos, Mount I already said these, sorry. The pulp science fiction magazine Amazing Stories ran with a fantastic tale called The Shaver Mystery. It entailed a series of supposedly factual stories by Richard Sharp Shaver, claiming a superior prehistoric race had built subterranean caves now inhabited by the Dero, their degenerate descendants. These Dero used the advanced machinery inherited from their superior forefathers to torment us surface dwellers. Let's see. There was a guy, you might know him, Adolf Hitler, gave the Hollow. Yeah, he gave it some credence and ordered an expedition to spy on the British fleet by aiming cameras at the sky. Claim without historical proof, but however, people still believe it. An even crazier theory holds that Hitler and the other top Nazis escaped to the Allies by fleeing to the inner Earth through Antarctica, which is more true than, the one before. The hollow Earth theory has a particularly strong hold on the imagination, like Edgar Allan Poe, Jules Verne, E.E.R. Burroughs, Lovecraft, and I don't know Umberto Eco, but he also was involved in that. The idea, subgenre of this also believes in a hollow moon. But people say after the so-called moon landing, this died out, but I think it only got stronger. In some hollow Earth theories, there is cities and civilizations at the core called Agartha. These seem to be derived from Aragarthia, which to the Hindus is a place of origin of the Vedas, which may be true. An alternate name for the city is Shambhala, which is Sanskrit for place of peace. Chinese, Russian, and Kyrgyz folklore all have their own names for similar places. Sometimes both names are used simultaneously, with Agartha, despite the whole designated the whole interior, and Shambhala is the main city. So just so you don't get that confused. Um, One of my favorite stories, though, and I'm going to read it to you guys. It's not really the story, but just kind of a description of the story.
So like a synopsis.
Yes, I'm not. Thank you. A Cliff Notes is one of my favorites. Is right here. This is the story of the two green kids. All right. So this is, and let's check out the chat first, and we'll get back to it. Earth isn't a shape; it's a state of mind. I like that, dude.
True.
Have you ever seen gases though? In zero in a vacuum, when they are trying to like recreate like a model of the earth forming, like if you put like, yeah, go ahead.
Not like when you do the tornado with the bottle, like the 2-liter bottle of
that
water.
is pretty dope.
Right?
Right. I'm going to show you guys a little picture, video of that too. When it is spinning and it's being formated. Oh my God, I can never speak anymore. The formation of a planet, other than bubbles, the gas, everything else goes to the outside. Anything that has more weight to it, I would say. But when the materials that form the center, it doesn't form a core. It forms more of a cylinder shape, which would be your entrance from the top and the bottom.
Right.
So that's, some people say that proves that a planet, like, because I've always wondered, when a planet is forming, why, if it's all like just melted magma and just crazy shit, why does the heavy stuff, if it's spinning so goddamn fast before the moon is here, why does all the heavy metals go to the center instead of things being pushed out? If it's spinning in a zero vacuum, like how does it form? I really don't know.
You have to think about the size of it, right? Because the earth is so, and this is what trips up flat earth all the time, because they don't understand, they can't grasp the scale of what we're talking about. It's moving so fast, but because of the scale of it, it does not feel like you can't feel it, right?
Right.
And metal things think. I don't know.
It's just always been weird to me, because I understand it's massive. Gravity would maybe pull things heavy to the center, but if it's spinning so fast, and there must be something that's, the gravity, I guess, is holding the outer into a spherical shape. I just don't understand how all the heavy material, I guess not all of it, because we find metals everywhere.
Yeah.
So
the stuff that was spinning off, that spinned off.
The moon is your Death Star. Yeah. Mad is 3 away from beating my sub count.
Oh.
Don't let him live in my shadow, since I don't do anything yet. Have more subs. Oh man, that is the dig. Yahtzee. Yeah.
I appreciate it. He's supporting.
So Yahtzee's in the center of the earth. They be albinos by now. They have a sun, Jane, and they be green.
Yeah, the inner sun. Is that what it was called?
Center
sun?
Pluto, and well, on that map, some say there's 2.
On that.
Yeah, come on, man. We don't know, because I'm not going to be like a scientist and be like, we proved it. No, we don't know. They ride dinosaurs down there, Jane.
Oh yeah,
They're
like like
in
an X-Men. What's the island called with all the dinosaurs and shit? And they don't have their powers when they go there?
Oh, yeah. In the cartoon?
Yeah. You remember?
Yeah. They do have their powers.
No, they don't. No, because Wolverine's like, oh, ain't nothing mutant about these, bub. Because he has his claws.
Yeah. Hansel and Gretel may have come from this story. We don't know. We don't know, Jane. That's a good one, though. Let's take a look at this, though. All right. The Green Children of Wolf Pit. The title of the story may sound immediately implausible to the cynics among you, but surprisingly, this is one tale of folklore which is probably founded on some basis of truth. Thank you, Ben. The legend of the Green Children of Wolf Pit starts during the reign of King Stephen in a rather tumultuous time in England, historically called the Anarchy, in the mid 12th century. I didn't know there was a King Stephen. King Stephen on the Haven. Is that the one, same guy? I don't know. Wolf Pit is an ancient village in Suffolk named after, as you might gather, a pit that catches wolves. Next to the wolf pit, in around 1150, a group of villagers came across two young children with green skin, apparently speaking gibberish and acting nervously. According to writings at the time by Ralph of Coggeshall, the children were subsequently taken to the nearby home of Sir Richard D. Clon, where he offered them food, but they repeatedly refused it. This continued for some days until the children came across some green beans in his garden, which they ate straight out of the ground. That's a rendition of the children, just so you know. And it is thought that the children lived with Richard for some years, which he was able to slowly convert them over to normal food. According to the writings of the day, this change in diet led to the children losing their green complexion. The children also slowly learn. Well, I mean, look, people that eat a lot of carrots start to turn orange. So maybe what they ate made them green, you know? The children also slowly learned to speak English better than I can. And once fluent, were asked where they had come from and why their skin was once green. They replied with, "We are inhabitants of the land of Saint Martin, who is regarded with peculiar veneration in the country which gave us birth." Okay. We are ignorant of how we arrived here. We only remember that on a certain day when we were feeding our father's flocks in the fields, we heard a great sound, such as we are now accustomed to hear at St. Edmund's when the bells are chiming. And whilst listening to the sounds in admiration, we became on a sudden, as it were, entranced, and found ourselves among you in the field where you were reaping. The sun does not rise upon our countrymen, or land is little cheered by its beams. We are contented with the twilight, which among you precedes the sunrise or follows the sunset. Moreover, a certain luminescent country is seen not far distant from ours, and divided from it by a very considerable river. Now, I'm just going to say this. We're the only species, maybe pigs and others, but we're one of the only species, mammals, that the sun burns. I guess we could roll around in mud like other animals and not get sunburned, but we're one of the only ones that get bad backs.
Are you trying to say that it's because we came from?
There are a lot of cultures that say our civilization was started by two people coming from the inner earth to the outer earth. Some people believe that paradise, Eden, may have been inner earth and God kicked them out and made them come to the surface.
Was it between the Tigris and the Euphrates?
I believe that too. I'm just repeating what I have learned from my deep 15-minute study of the Hollow Earth before our show. Shortly after this revelation, Richard took the children to a Baptist in a local church, in a local church. However, the boy died soon afterwards through an unknown illness. The girl, later known as Agnes, continued to work for Richard for many years before marrying the Archdeacon of Eel, Richard Barr. According to one report, the pair had at least one child. So if you're from England or descendant, and you can, find your family tree back to Wolf Pit, you may be a descendant of Agnes. That'd be pretty cool. Just saying. So who were the kids? Most likely explanation for the green children of Woolpit is that they were descendants of Flemish immigrants. This is all lies. We're not going to read that part. We know the kids came from Middle Earth. Let's just leave it at that, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Have you ever seen a tortilla cook? It's flat, then becomes a sphere with all the air inside. Doesn't mean anything. I just wanted to share that fact. Thank you. Jane says some colleges offer their course free online about inner Earth. That's great.
Ooh, that is interesting.
Yeah. Force field. I don't know what you're talking about. King Kong.
Babe, can you give me in your college's Hollow Earth class?
If it doesn't have it, you're in the wrong school. There are people that say that the people and animals are much bigger in the inner Earth. And if there was, you know what? That's a good question. I'm going to find that out right now. Because I too need to know.
Because the only like explanation that I can think of for why they were bigger animals is in the pre-Diluvian time frame is because of it was a more oxygen rich environment before the what is it, the water that covered the earth like in the sky or whatever broke, the firmament
okay,
whatever broke, that changed the oxygen levels, meaning that it wasn't enough for these large animals to survive because it was a less oxygen rich.
Well, less
atmosphere.
oxygen rich. Some say also gravity had changed. That there was maybe because of the more gases in the atmosphere caused it to be a little less. But if you have more gravity and less oxygen, things won't grow more gravity, less oxygen, things won't grow as big. That's why armadillos are small now.
Oh, okay.
I just totally made the thing up about gravity.
They
sounded really
I was like,
cool, though.
wow, okay, that's one way of
it sounds good.
I feel like mine was a little bit more.
Yeah, you're a little science based. What's up, Mike?
Not really. I'm talking about pre-Diluvian time and dinosaurs.
I'm with you.
I didn't say I'm not wrong. I'm saying.
Mike says moon is a hologram. You need a concave hole and light source above to make a hologram. I think the moon is hollow. I don't know if it's a hologram, but yes, Mike, I believe Middle Earth is the inner Earth, at least one level. So I like that.
Well, they can keep all that elf and hobbit shit down there then.
They just let him keep the kids. It was 1150 AD, Jane. Like, no one gave a shit.
Where are they gonna go?
I mean, most other people probably would have let the kids just die. You know, like he was like, I will keep these children.
Hey, Jane, you ever heard of Founders Keepers?
Losers Weepers. Yeah. Okay. So the formed or scratching living from little more than bear. All right. So what was I going to look up again?
What were you going to look up?
Oh crap. Does anybody remember? Yeah, I know, but they roll in shit. Okay. Are you going to roll in shit not to get a sunburn? Come on. Harry.
Shit.
If they turned green to brown, and then he would have been like, I'm not keeping them.
True. Oh, or he would have, but they just would have been in a different house.
A little different. Yeah. Not marrying the deacon. You know what I mean? Terrible. Yeah, we don't have fur, Gene. I get that. God, I'm just saying.
Why don't we have fur? Because
why did we lose it
in the center Earth, Middle Earth?
Yeah. Why did evolution tell us, hey, we don't need hair. Let's get burned by the sun.
Probably because they saw how icky it is, like the 70s. They're like, oh,
yeah, that's
from all this
big bush. They do burn though, Jane. They do burn. Fact. I would probably know better than you.
I was gonna bring it up, but I was like, you know what? I'll let Jane address this when she gets to it, because I was gonna bring up the same thing. I was like, I'll hold it back.
You should. That's good.
And
let's see. Less dentrium and Middle Earth, heavy hydrogen. Oh, okay. All right. That's probably why. Welcome back, Brian. Okay. What were we going to look up? Does anybody remember?
No, I don't remember. That was you. I forgot what you were going to look up.
I do too.
We've skipped around a little bit in
You said
conversation.
something, and I was like, "Oh,
about why animals are big or in inner Earth, right? You said that the animals are bigger in inner Earth. Yeah, check all the sciences places. What was that site that Jane sent?
No, that fake science one.
Yeah,
Didn't even have like a .org or anything behind it.
Huh?
Oh,
hold on. I think the girlfriend. I think she sent me an answer to that very question.
Oh, okay.
So here we go. Dinosaurs were likely so large due to a combination of factors, most significantly the abundance of food available in their environment. That sounds like garbage, which allowed for larger herbivores to evolve and, in turn, larger carnivores to prey on them, all while benefiting. This is largely tied to the idea of plentiful food and not directly related to the atmosphere or attempts. Wow, really?
That's what she gave you.
Yeah. She's just like, here, let me debunk what he just said immediately through. Wow, and it make me read it on live?
On him. Yeah. Just kicked you right in the nuts. I respect that.
Source.
Yeah. You're supposed to be keeping notes, Jane said. Thank you, Jane. Oh my God. It brought me back to live science again, though.
Did it really?
Jane, yeah, to Jane's for why animals are bigger. So we'll just take a look at her livescience.com, everybody. Let's remember that. Let's see. Plenty of fossil, whatever. Several major differences between dinosaur and today's mammals may explain the loss of behemoths. However, along with other giant reptiles, dinosaurs could adapt to different niches as they grew bigger over life, hunting smaller prey as juvenile and larger victims as adult. Swapped out set of teeth. Yeah, well, that doesn't help me here, people. But another way, as some reptile youngsters balloon into hulking adults, they trade their relatively puny juvenile teeth for bigger weapons. It's all about teeth. In dinosaurs, too, air sacs likely extended from their lungs to their bones, creating sturdy but light scaffolding that gave dinosaurs skeletons that were still strong, still flexible, but lightweight, that helped them get bigger and bigger and bigger. The same way that skyscrapers get bigger and bigger and bigger because the internal support structure. I always thought it had something to do with, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Boo. Pass.
Yep. Not believing that.
I was hating on him before hating on him was cool.
Yeah. I've just disliked him for so many years.
I hate the way that he's so dismissive about anything conversation about aliens specifically.
Yep.
Like to the point to where like he under no circumstances will he ever accept the possibility.
Right. Just a prick about it too. He's one of those arrogant people about it, and I can't stand that. Let's see. In some ways, the ancient animals resemble plants more than modern animal life. Wow. Researchers looked at range morph fossils. They discovered maybe the earliest evidence of nutrient dependent growth among ancient animals. This shape-shifting ability allowed range morphs to grow larger depending on whether they were in water with more nutrients or oxygen. Oxygen. Yep.
Boom.
There seemed to be major change in the Earth's oceans, which may have triggered growth. So the life on Earth suddenly started getting much bigger. Probably too early to conclude. Shut up. Always conclude. All right. We don't know why. We don't know why. Neil is a DEI hire. Damn. No, but he supports it. He's a fraud. I can't stand that guy. I think he's awesome. Of course you do, Jane. But because you always are, you're playing devil's advocate way too much. But he definitely has blind spots when it comes to anything that isn't hard science. Yeah, even the idea that he can't even fathom things. That's what bothers me about him. You know, and he belittles the idea, like the hollow moon. like the hollow moon theory to me is there's a lot of evidence for it. Like when they seismic readings, when they were reading it, the waves went faster as it got more into the hollow or into the moon, meaning that there was much more hollow open areas. Yeah, it rang like a bell for hours, all that stuff, and he just belittles people that believe that. Yeah, he is far from it. He's a very smart guy. He's very smart. He's just an idiot. Um, got all them teeth and have to eat to keep them sharp and healthy. I thought you were going with, yeah, all them teeth, no toothbrush to clean them.
Something's wrong with your medulla oblongata.
Oh, thank you, Sherry. Let me check this out. Oh, show you guys a cute picture. Do you believe
setting you up?
Someone like this should be deported.
Oh, is this the same thing that we were looking at before the stream?
Yep.
I said 100% to be deported immediately.
She got deported. Yep.
We have enough people on OnlyFans already. We don't need another one.
Can we keep her and send Whoopi to Mexico? No expectations law in order, just like Trump said. She can stay. I'll fix her. I love it. I love the internet. Maybe she ain't thick enough. She is an attractive girl. I'll give her that. But you know what? She was probably living with a criminal, and she's a criminal. Follow the law, people. All right. Let's see what. Let me take this back and see what the lovely Sherry sent me.
There is the possibility that her as an attractive female has caused more damage to the citizens of America than any of the cartel members, because the way she could have manipulated and broken men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I hear what you're saying. Amnesty now, small time says, and Soul says he can save her. Kirsty, what's up, girl? Send you to Canada? Okay. I think this would work way better with Culture's face than mine, but I like it. Good job. Mount Shasta now. Okay. I want to just do a little bit on that and then we can call it a night. But Mount Shasta is insane. Where was it? Nope, that was the book. I would just I talk about something while I look, buddy. No doubt.
Oh, okay. So what I'm doing right now is called proofreading the script for tonight's live stream. That's gonna be at 9:15 p.m. Central Time on Mad's new channel. Brought to you by Mad in his new channel. I won't be reading it. I'll be having Imp read it because I forgot that I was supposed to make an AI that sounded like Jane to read it for us, but
that'd be dope.
Maybe next time.
That would be cool.
It was your idea.
Yeah, I know it was. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I totally.
Why don't you remember?
I totally remember. I said that's a great idea.
Why don't you remember?
I totally remember.
What may have happened?
You're an asshole. I forget things sometimes. That's all. Okay, let's see. Atlantis is buried under the ocean, but Telos hides in Mount Shasta. Script doctor. Hold on one second, buddy. I got to share that. And boom. We have the script, everybody.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen.
What's up, sir?
Oh, I just wrapped up my show. Saw that you guys were still going. Thought I'd pop in, say hi. Had a blast last weekend, and why not keep it going if I can?
We did. I love that you're here. We're talking about Inner Earth. Right now, science, hard science. What do you feel about the hollow Earth theory?
It's a fun idea.
I don't like this. How this is starting.
I don't know how. I mean, I would love it to be a real thing, but it raises a lot of questions, especially considering current theories as they stand. But again, more evidence could come to light, show that the reason our gravity is the way it is and the density of the planet is the way it is because there's pretty much something between the surface of the Earth all the way down to the molten core, and not much space in between, and that equates to it. So, but I mean, it would be so cool to find a hollow earth underneath, because then you essentially what you have is we're living on the shell of something, and then there's a gap in between, and if there's a crack in the surface, then you basically have that earth is gone, and then the hollow earth ends up becoming the surface of the new earth underneath. And all the questions that would come from that is like, well, does the atmosphere sustain itself? Can it sustain itself? How those worlds work? Because now you have a much smaller world underneath by comparison, because how big is the hollow earth supposed to actually be in comparison to our actual earth?
I could tell you that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you take the planet for us outsiders, they believe that 400 miles in is like almost like a gravity field. That is where gravity pulls. And then on the other side, there's another 400 miles that goes to the surface of the inner earth, where gravity pulls them that way. So they're like on the inside, but it's against the outside of the sphere. If you understand,
the gravity in hollow earth is on the interior, as opposed to it being in the same direction as them on the surface of whatever the center of the
I guess what I'm saying is, okay, so gravity pulls us down. It does the same to them, but almost like if you when they design like a spaceship to move colonies, and they spin it so people are actually
on the outside, like centrifugal force type of thing.
Yes.
So if you're on like, say, the main surface of hollow earth, and you look up, you'd be looking towards the core of the earth.
Yes.
As opposed to the opposite way.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Right? I thought it was quite interesting too, because it makes sense. If the earth is spinning enough and it is hollow, well, then gravity has to pull you somewhere. And if there's 800 miles worth of mantle or whatever crust, that is what's pulling each of us towards each other, I guess.
Well, I mean, the idea of gravity, and then the theory that you have, is that if you were to drill right to the center of the earth, the moment you get to the center, you would just float there, because you wouldn't have enough, unless you had enough force going in one direction, you would stop and you'd be stuck there forever.
Right.
Because you go a couple more feet further in any direction, you would then be you'd still be going back and forth in the center of the earth. You need to be able to be propelled so that you're not drawn back into the center. Right. So for the hollow earth to basically stay on the exterior part of the interior of the hollow earth, gravity would be in reverse, to the point where when you stare up, you're staring into the center of the earth.
Yes.
Whereas if you want to be consistent with the gravity that's on the surface of the earth, if you were staring up, you'd be still staring towards the sky, but there's the interior roof shell of the earth is blocking your view. So you're standing on what would be closest to the core, because gravity still has to go into a single direction.
Yes.
But the theory that you're positing is that because of the centrifugal force of the earth, and because it's so close related to the core, instead of it pulling things down, it'd be pushing things away.
Yes. I mean, I feel like I said that exactly. No, you just made it sound so much better. But yeah, because if you think about it, it's they say to the center of the earth, it's 4,000 kilometers or 4,000 miles. I think it's like
it's like 46,000 miles or something of that nature, something like that.
Yeah. So if you only have 800 miles of hard core, there's nothing really. Maybe they say there's like a small sun, but the pull is more from the force you just said.
Centrifugal force.
Yeah. Obi-Wan. Like in a spaceship that would travel, and it holds you against while you have luminescence from a very light star in the middle.
That's assuming that the core is exposed.
It's assuming, some believe there is, some believe there's not, depending on which theory you follow with hollow earth.
Yeah, well, that just begs the question. So if the centrifugal force is pushing things away from the core on the inside, how is it that we still have gravity pulling us towards the core on the outside?
Right. Yeah, I could look into that, because it is like we were showing a really detailed map.
You have two
before.
opposing forces with that.
Right. And I see what you're saying, and that's probably why people don't believe this hollow earth theories, because it is hard to believe. But okay.
Well,
but
yeah, once you bring in like science and somebody that's smart, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
He sounds good.
Ooh, look at me.
One
I'm
part about
educated in
gravity-
Canada.
Well, one part about gravity, it's often referred to as purely a pull, but it's also part of a push. So like other forces in a larger gravitational field can actually push against push in the favor direction of the pull, but it doesn't operate the same way. Like for instance, our moon, it has its gravity field causes a push that affects our tides, which is why we can have, big tsunamis and stuff if the moon gets a little bit too close to the earth,
Right.
what have you. That's one of the cool aspects of it, because gravity, while we can calculate and predict it, we can't really find a definitive source of it. And because we can't find that source, we're actually have a very difficult time recreating it. But we're able to use other forces like kinetic energy and centrifugal force to kind of replicate a little bit of gravity in some areas.
So this is where it is. Down in the bottom right, you see center of gravity 400 miles down. So you have this center of gravity line, and it's pulling us towards it, and it's pulling them also towards it. So I don't know how that would work. It would have to be force
and centrifugal force.
Centrifugal force.
I know you can do it. You're a smart guy. You're just very humble.
That's it. And dyslexic, so some words get me. Centrifugal force.
Wait,
pulling.
You have like audio, like oral dyslexia.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a reading thing.
No, I have. It's more than just. Well, when I was a kid, they just called it learning disabilities. But I have some problems with. I know how a word's supposed to be said, but from my brain to my mouth, it gets confused, and I say it, and I know. Like sometimes when I'm like, "Did I say that right?" Because in my head, I think I said it right, but
I because of the traumatic brain injury, I have a lot of speech issues as well, and also I sound out everything in an East Texas accent really thick in my head, and it does not help.
Yeah,
like autocorrect will be like, I swear, autocorrect is like, well, why don't we try a different word?
Dude, they're not even teaching kids like grammar anymore. Like not grammar, but spelling, because autocorrect. Yeah, like autocorrect fixes everything.
You don't want to rely on autocorrect.
That's what I'm saying, man.
A lot of people have shown screenshots of when autocorrect screws up horribly.
Yeah.
A Gap After Dark wants to know, Matt, are you a flat earther?
What? No. I wish. Like I enjoy everything about them, especially when I just get to sit there and tear apart. I have so many questions. I want to get a flat earther actually on my channel, because I don't want to talk science and shit, because I don't know science. But I have a lot of questions about why is it such a conspiracy? What are they like? What is the end goal?
What's the advantage?
Yeah.
Someone realized they could make money off of flat earth. Really, that's how it started. And then there was like these two competing guys. I watched like the whole documentary on it. And every time they try to prove that the earth is flat, they prove that it's round. It's hilarious.
On a lot of the flat earth societies, they say they're like the biggest flat earth society on the globe.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
on the globe. I never realized
that's a tweet. There's a tweet from the Flat Earth Society.
I mean, dude, they literally just took the map, the symbol from the UN, and said that's our map.
Yeah. Is it that the video I was mad fapping with Jags and Brahma? They were like, well, why are all the maps flat? Because it's paper. What do you mean?
Why are all the globes round? I mean,
Oh, yeah, people are dumb. I love it though.
What's funny is like we have a legend in Canada with the First Nations where the world is on the back of a turtle. They don't even think that it's flat.
Yeah, I mean, at least the turtle, the shell is a little bent there. So let's take a look at this one. Actually, give me one more second. I have to find something else. So why do you think? I know people may be gullible, and there are people with, low information, maybe even low IQ. But why do people believe it? So
they want to believe it.
Is it because also they want to be part of something? Like I'm in the know and you're not? Like, what do you guys think?
Sure. I mean, the other part too is like there's always people that are looking for more definitive actions to explain things that they can't quite understand.
Right.
Like sometimes you just can't rationalize the idea that, yeah, it is the fact that Hollywood is incompetent that's causing these outcomes. They're not maliciously trying to do anything evil.
Yeah, right.
And some, like, with a few exceptions, of course, but it's not all in the fantasy realm of it's Sauron plotting to take over Middle Earth. It's some guy has a good idea or a bad idea that an idea that they think is good, which is actually bad, putting it out there and then watching it fail before them, but then basically burying their head in the sand like an ostrich, saying, no, it's I'm not out of touch, it's the audience. And then just hiding there, and then until they come up with another, silly idea that they think might work. And we are so perplexed and bewildered by what that idea was that it's hard for us to fathom that it could happen purely out of incompetence, that it has to be premeditated.
Right.
And that's the same with QAnon shit as well. They can't comprehend that the world is just a messy place with messy people. It has to be something more.
It has to be more nefarious.
And you get it with people who, their life is miserable. They have to blame it on the man.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, because like QAnon, there are some points like talking about protecting kids. No, like but they go so into it.
Right. Yeah. It's
and it's
good
just like,
intentions,
dude, if you stopped right about here, you wouldn't sound crazy.
Yeah.
These are the things you don't say out loud.
They think that there's some things happening out there that are akin to the science fiction stories about Germany in the 1940s, where scientists were experimenting on super soldier serum or mutations or something of that level, which are very much embellished from the actual facts at hand. But it does so because it elicits a dramatic response. It also hooks you in. You get involved. You definitely don't want to see those things happen. And then when something gets exposed, it's nowhere nearly as terrible as that, but it's still terrible on its own right. So you're thinking, oh, we're only just scraping the surface. We got to keep digging more and more and more to the point where you realize, oh, now it's become a cottage industry because we've said some things that will never be found out. And as long as we know that they'll never be found out, we've got them hook, line, and sinker for the rest of their lives.
I mean, I have a buddy who, like, it's so fun because he so strongly believes in one thing. And then all of a sudden, like Vex, he was so anti, like he was saying they were putting, he was one of those people that truly believed, microchips and nano chips and this and that. And then he got the vax. And then he said, no, it actually makes your DNA stronger. And this and that. Like, what the fuck? Dude, how did you flip that quick? And it's just, he's not a dumb person, but he's gullible, I guess. I don't know.
If he thinks that nanotech can actually survive without a power source, you're not very smart, because you can't.
It's a quantum battery. Come on.
It's a nano battery that lasts longer than every other battery that's ever existed. And it's solved the very, the evaporation of energy problem that happens in normal batteries.
I believe it's solar powered.
Yeah, you got to get sun, at least 1 hour of sun every day.
No light at all.
Yeah.
Your skin absorbs vitamin C and shit from the sun.
Yes, but that energy is not the same as electrical energy from a photocell.
You don't know nanos.
Oh, man. You nano nothing.
The other part too is you don't have to insert a chip into anybody. We actually already carrying a large chip in our pocket that gives us time and connectivity to the internet, which is also able to record us when we know it about it or not.
I tried to explain to him, like, dude, if it is a quantum battery, do you understand that quantum battery is tapping into multiversal energy? And he was like, what? And I was like, no, literally, like, that's what it may be involved in, because quantum computing, there is a theory that it will tap into
the energy of the universe. Yeah.
Well, in every multiverse that there is.
If there is one, which we don't yet know. Yeah.
Well, we know.
No, we don't, because it was a postulated theory in the early 1950s by a scientist who actually was not a very good scientist.
Well, string theory also relates to the multiverse, where you have brains, BRANE, and like the universes are kind of stacked on each other.
You know what?
String theory's already been debunked because it doesn't fit into the actual
that's old
content of the universe. It actually is still molecular based.
You know what?
I got Google alerts set for string theory.
You know what I want to? I like to believe it's not real, for the simple fact I don't want to believe there's a version of me that has a better life.
Right? I've never thought about
dude.
that.
Yeah, there is no multiverse, because screw that dude.
Right? look, I decided not to join the army for a free T-shirt, and I'm not burnt now. Who's the sucker? Fuck that guy.
That piece of shit.
I'm not gonna lie, but I do know how successful that pitch for the army has been for your country.
For a lot of people.
Look, I was high.
Like,
I saw.
T-shirt?
I was high. I saw army commercial. Call 1-800-GO-ARMY, get a free T-shirt. It's like, fuck, bro, I want a free T-shirt. That was it.
They forgot to mention that you also technically get paid, but
it was a T-shirt that got me.
Exactly. That's the thing. T-shirt was tangible.
Yep. And I never got it either. That's the fucked up thing.
Oh, that's some bullshit. You never got it?
No, I never got it.
Oh, dude.
You should complain to the VA.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if there's any army recruiters out there, please send it.
No, I don't want it now. Too late.
Main thing I took from flat earth theory is the curved lens on all camera scope instruments causing planets to appear round. No.
Wait a minute. When we look straight at the moon without our glasses, it's still round.
Mm-hmm. It
Or
is
is
a
it a
round.
disc?
It's a disc. It's a flat plate. That's what they're trying to say. There's a version of Scott with a flowing mane. You piece of shit. Here we go. Let's see. So this is only one part of our little Mount Shasta. Looms. It's over 14,000 feet above sea level, and it's like not part of a mountain range either. It's like the Lonely Mountain. It like just shoots straight up. It's pretty interesting looking. The snow-capped peak visible from California's Central Valley to southern Oregon on a clear day. The mountain has long been thought of as a sacred by the Native Americans who settled in the area, including the Klamath people, who believed that a mighty spirit called Skell descended from heaven to the top of Mount Shasta. In the last century, though, there's another legend that has been circulating about this mountain, that the city called Telos is hidden underneath the mountain. Now, I don't know if this, it is Lemuria. Okay. Telos is said to be inhabited by an ancient yet advanced civilization known as the Lemurians, who are survivors from the sunken continent of Lemuria, or Mu, some people
Lemuria,
call it.
yeah. The sister missing continent of Atlantis. Yeah.
Yes. Some say Atlantis was in the Atlantic and Lemuria would be more in the Pacific.
Yes.
There is a story that they actually caused the cataclysm, the deluge, because they went to war against each other. And it was because the Atlanteans were more evolved, more technically advanced than Lemuria or anyone else on the planet. And they were, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word people use? No, shit. It's like, they were good. They were good. It starts with a B.
They were better?
No, I can't think of the word better. Benevolent. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
And then, but all of a sudden, power and power came, descendants, they just got more power hungry, and they actually had a nuclear war against Lemuria, which caused the cataclysm. And that's just one story for y'all. Yeah.
Real quick, I got to get going because I got to take care of a couple things for the stream, though. Had a lot of fun. Doc. Why am I calling him Doc?
Doc.
That's a proper.
He's a Western gambler. Anyway, great to see that you came on. I was like, man, I can't leave until somebody else comes. So
I would have been fine, dude, but thank you.
I wouldn't leave you like that. But anyway, yep. So I got my stream coming up at 9:15 Central. We're gonna be doing a Mad Pap every paragraph or pause about the real Crocodile Dundee. Make sure you're there. All right, bye guys.
Cool. Later, buddy. Yeah, his new stuff is so much fun. I was on last week. I guess he records it. It's not like a live stream, but we did the true story of that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, The Revenant.
The Covenant one or The Revenant?
No, Revenant. Yeah, Revenant.
Yeah, Revenant, where he gets mauled by a bear.
Yeah, dude, that story, the real story. Mm-hmm. That dude, death follows that guy. Like, never go camping with him alone because no one ever comes back but him. That guy's story is the worst.
So he's probably a murderer.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, if the only tale comes from him, he killed everybody. But there's Mad at 9:15 Central, 10:15 Eastern. Make sure you guys check it. I guess it's going to be live this time, so check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, he didn't even have a son, Jane. You know, in the movie, it's all about his kid. Yeah, he didn't even have a kid in real life. Back to the Lemurians. So yeah, the existence and name of Lemuria was first proposed in 1864 by zoologist Phil Sclater to explain the similarities in lemur fossils found in Madagascar and India. Lemur, excuse me. Yeah. So that's right. Mew might be more into the Atlantic, but the Lemurian one is kind of like a subcontinent of India, which
On the Pacific side of things, yeah.
yeah, and he realized that this doctor realized that the lemurs were the same on Madagascar that they were in India, and how would they have gotten there? So he proposed there must have been some type of land bridge, or you know, before the deluge, maybe there was one land, continent there. So that's
yeah.
where that came from.
What is it? Not Pandora. That's not it. It's
Nope.
but
That
that's Pangea. Pangea. The Pangea
Mhm.
was all one. Yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't Pangea. What did they call that subcontinent? Lost continent was, because it was connected to like some of the islands, even into Australia.
So was this like going through the Arabian Sea and then further south towards Australia, or like are you
Yes.
talking like a land bridge between
Well,
India, Malaysia, Indonesia to Australia?
well, his was a land bridge from Madagascar to India or something, but this
Good.
other one was India down to yeah, all those islands were part of this continent, and Australia was maybe like 50 to 90 kilometers apart from it. And I believe they have found that this may have happened during the last ice age, that it was above ground. So this is most likely how Madagascar, I mean, it would have been attached most likely to Africa, not India, but
Yeah, it would be
somehow
towards
during that time.
Mozambique, I think it'd probably
Mhm.
be a part of that. If I'm knowing my continental geography of Africa correctly.
Right, right. Let's see. I
I
put in
kind
the
of want to
wrong
look it up
thing.
now.
Yeah, please, you look it up. Look it up.
Okay. Yeah.
If you could look up like even like maybe a map of the last ice age of India, you will be able to maybe see that too. And I'll keep reading this fantastic story. Sclatter, I guess, hypothesized that a land bridge must have existed between the two at some point in history. However, rather than this hypothesized the land in the Indian Ocean, the Mount Shasta connection is a little closer, geographically at any rate, to the lost continent of Mew, proposed by 19th century British writer James Churchward to have sunk in the Pacific Ocean. The two names have become interchangeable as the legend evolved. The legend of Lemuria originally had no connection to Mount Shasta, but a couple of books published in the early 1900s cemented the lore of the lost city civilization hiding under Mount Shasta, the most significant of which was Lemur, The Lost Continent of the Pacific by Harvey Spencer Lewis, who published the book under the pseudonym Wisher.
Spenley Sareve?
Yeah, something like that. Thank you for taking that one on.
No problem.
Yeah, so that's one story, but this Mount Shasta has so many really cool connections to UFOs, to inner Earth. It's just a very cool. So I'm just going to look up the legends now. If you found it, I would love to share it. Did you put it in the
All I
private?
found is one of the most, I guess, the map of the last ice age as projected. I put it in the private chat.
Yeah, that works. All right, I'll put that one up.
Now it shows the land bridge from India to Australia, but it doesn't show anything to Madagascar other than a series of small islands, which might have been close enough for them to be traversed during colder seasons.
Right. That makes sense. All right, let's take a look at this, everybody. We'll zoom in big time. All right.
So, look at you, master of the zoom. There.
You like that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Got to get used to it sometimes. All right. So, yeah, it's Sunderland. Sunderland. That is the name of the continent that but a lot of people believe that it was more from, if you could see my cursor, yeah, you can.
Yep.
It was like the continent actually went from pretty much this part of India, attached something over here, and then curved back around. Now,
man, that's a lot of space to cover.
that's a lot.
And if it's all ice, that'd be really hard to traverse because there's no vegetation.
You would die in that distance, any animal.
Yeah.
Now the ice caps were in the northern, or the ice sheets were in the northern hemisphere. So even if this iced over, I mean, still that's way too far. But there was a lot of
travel from India through Egypt.
Yep.
All the way down, and then if it froze over, that's maybe a week's travel of ice for an animal.
Yep. But you see right here, these little islands right here, it looks more shallow. At some point, maybe that was the land bridge they're talking about, and it was close enough to these islands for it to get to Madagascar. I don't know. But it says the Sunderland and the name given to a subcontinent that disappeared when the sea levels, something
started to rise. It allowed humans to settle new lands more easily and venture to the Pacific Ocean. Which is always a fascinating theory, because again, like when you take a look at, say, the Russia to Alaska ice shelf, that is such a shorter distance. You can understand, and we actually can better track the migration patterns of man. It makes sense because you could follow animal trails, things there. But when you get into a place where it's like ice sheet over ocean, there's not much room for them to justify a survival because, well, number one, you either had to fish, which when you're looking at an ice sheet that you could travel on, you're looking at several feet of ice. Too difficult. It's too difficult to auger down to get to actual fish, to hunt and what have you. So you have to basically hope that there's some sort of creatures migrating in that area. But if there's no vegetation, there's nothing to eat, there's no access to fish, they wouldn't be there. It'd be desolate.
Yeah, you're right. I'm with you on that. They have found up in this ice sheet area, what does that say? Barents? Ice sheet?
Barrenness. It's hard to tell. Like, it's not clear on my computer either. It's the white on off white is not a great
weird. But they have found like in the ocean right between, like above Norway and in between that and the UK, let's just say.
Yeah, between that and Greenland. Yeah.
They have found Iceland. Cities. Yeah. They have found cities. So, but it was an ice sheet. So how old are those cities that are underwater? That's what I wonder.
Yeah. And were they cities built on like floating islands that then sunk, or was it something else? Like,
we might have to look into that. I love this stream because we just jumped to whatever. Are you talking about the Wallace line? What is that? Okay, here we go. The line runs through the Lombok Strait and the Madagascar Strait. The line marks a clear divide between animals on either side, with many species only found on one side. I don't know if that's what we're talking about, but it sounds very cool. We were talking about the lemurs that are on Madagascar, and the bones of them are the same exact structure as the ones in India, not the ones in Africa. So maybe that's something that we're talking about. Cities. The cities were plus 12,000 years. Ago. Yeah. I don't know what you guys were talking about to begin with. Yeah, that we were talking about the lemurs though. So you have a valid point there.
But that is also kind of a brand of this channel, right? And that's what makes it fun.
You don't need to know what we just talk about whatever. Let's see, legends I'll put for Shasta, because there are some crazy ones. And legends of Mount Shasta, I would say. I will allow for you, my friend. I will allow ads. I just did. Leave me alone. All right, here. What the frick? All right, sorry about that. All right, here we go. Let me just blow this one up and we'll take a look at some of the legends. Okay. is known as one of the most sacred places on earth. By many people, the magical mountain. The mountain is located in the Cascade Range in Northern California. It rises around the picturesque mountains in the
Siskiyou. Yeah,
Siskiyou, County, at an altitude of over. Yeah, it's so nice to have you, me, and Matt. The two of us, we can't. He couldn't help me. Altitude over 4,322 meters above sea level. It is also one of the largest dormant volcanoes. I think the last time it went really off was over 12,000 years ago. Kind of funny. That's when it went off. Last ice age ending. Let's see. Since known history, locals believe that this mountain is truly magical, and there are many mysteries and stories that have baffled and delighted not only the local Native American population, but also thousands of people who have visited and people that disappeared this magical, scary freaking mountain. They keep saying it's scary to me. Natives have always considered this mountain as a sacred place, and in recent decades, it has been connected to mystical power that emanates peace and harmony. What? Like, some of the stories are terrifying. Some believe that Mount Shasta is closely related to mysterious flying objects, and some have ventured out and said that there are secret underground bases located inside this magical mountain. It is gorgeous, though.
It is. It also looks like the mountain that's used on the Quantum Leap classic TV series, but that mountain is apparently located in New Mexico.
Is it really? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
Yeah,
it doesn't ever glow blue randomly and throughout the night. And there might be something in there,
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Shit, I'm a native guy now, like all of a sudden. Quantum leap. There have been many objects discovered around it. The objects indicate that the region around Mount Shasta has been inhabited for over 9,000 years. I know that some of the oldest rock drawings are on Mount Shasta in that area in the northern, actually South and Northern America. But for over 9,000 years by several native tribes of North America, it is also a natural boundary that delineates the table territory of native tribes such as the Shasta, Modoc, Wintun,
Atsugui,
and Klamath.
Yep.
All right. Some of these tribes believe that Mount Shasta was the center of creation. Native Americans that inhabit the region still perform rituals in honor of the mountain to attract the spiritual power that it emanates. Mount Shasta has been identified by many experts as a spiritual and cosmic energy point, a landing area for UFOs, and even an entry point that leads into the fifth dimension or inner earth. And as access to underground civilization. In 1884, Frederick S. Oliver, writer and explorer, wrote a book entitled A Dweller on Two Planets, where he speaks of elaborate underground. Wait a minute. Where is the other? Because this can't be the whole title. Okay, A Dweller on Two Planets, I'm guessing is the name.
They forgot the quotes at the end of that, because if it is A Dweller on Two Planets, where he speaks of elaborate underground tunnels and rooms where the descendants of the Atlanteans live.
Yeah, it's like an anime. It's an anime. Wow, look at that picture. Look at those clouds.
That is cool.
Holy crap.
Looks like stubby legs coming down.
Yeah. It looks like Stephen Walton entering. He said he'd show up and he never did, so screw that guy. The mountain is also considered one of the 7 sacred mountains of the world. A Buddhist monastery was built there in 1971 by Honjiyu Kenneth.
Yep.
Okay. It has become a site of meditation, holy temples, and shrines. It is believed to be the focal point of positive energy and a place that would help bring world peace to mankind. I'm saying this is skewing very positive because I have heard some crazy ones about this. So, it proved to be a mysterious place when in 1931, a fierce wildfire swept across Mount Shasta. According to locals, the fierce fire was stopped by a mysterious mist that came out of nowhere. The unusual fog created a linear demarcation of fire where you could see perfect lines around which the fire was curved in direction correlation with the central zone. That's kind of funky.
It's weird.
Like the mountain itself was like, no, you're not burning over here. Like, I'm going to show you
And
where
then
you
just manipulated the wind and
Yeah.
mist to flow in a
crazy.
direction to extinguish such a fire.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That
What
is
did you
some
say?
Doctor Strange stuff there, yeah.
That is some Doctor Strange. Alaska has legends about tailed ones, monkey-like
Pre-simian species
that hunt and trap. Okay, so what's pre-simian species?
Pre-simian is like well, simian is like monkeys, so this would be pre-simian.
And he says that hunt and trap humans for food, about 50 pounds range. Closest relatives in Madagascar. What? Okay, I've never heard of that one. Yeah, I should call him on live and be like, where the hell are you? And he'll probably throw out my dad and I'll feel terrible. So I can't do that. Mount Shasta is also believed to be an energy supply base for extraterrestrial crafts. Given the increasing number of sightings that have been reported in the area in the last decade, the Hopi Indians have legends about a vast network of caves and a great city under Mount Shasta where the reptilian race lives. Many people living around Mount Shasta have told stories about very tall humanoids appearing occasionally in smaller towns. Yeah, that's terrifying to me. The idea that there's a vast network of caves is, you can probably prove that. I mean, it is a ancient volcano, so there must be lava tubes all through the area. So yeah, I can see a lot of underground caves around the area of Mount Shasta. Lizard people. Yeah, it's interesting. It's also known for its many mysterious disappearance throughout history. One of the most recent cases occurred in 2011 when a 6-year-old boy disappeared for about 5 hours while playing in the woods. According to witnesses, the boy suddenly vanished from sight in a second and reappeared 5 hours as if nothing had happened. I also, before the stream, read one about a 3-year-old boy camping with his parents, disappeared out of nowhere. And they brought in search teams, like seasoned search teams, looking for, I want to say it was a couple days. So people just assumed maybe the kid was dead. And then all of a sudden, like, they heard a noise near the campsite in a bush, and it was the kid. But they've checked, like, people swore they checked that bush multiple, you know what I mean?
And it's just, he just appeared out of nowhere. And when he, was it the same type of story where like they examined him and they realized, oh, well, like he hadn't been gone as long as they thought?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really a strange one.
It's like a time warp.
Yeah. And if you ever watch, there's a YouTube channel called the Y Files, WHY Files. It's probably one of my favorite channels. Like, the minute he posts a new video, I watch it. He has one recent about lightning striking this guy, and he disappeared. And then like 3 days later, he appeared right where he left, and it rained for days, but yet he's in completely dry clothes. And it was like the lightning caused him to go to a different multiverse. It's a strange, yeah, it's a cool story. But if you've never checked out the Y Files, guys, like Brian's saying, and I know Tina watches it, it's awesome. And the guy's hilarious. He has like a fish, heckle fish, that like is with him. It's freaking hilarious. And he tells he tells such a good story. So in March 2011, a man from Los Angeles who was hiking in the area said to have heard a female voice from the forest. The man was captivated and absorbed by the voice, which led to his disappearance for weeks. When he appeared, he claimed to have been kidnapped by mysterious forces that led him to a very dark cave where an unusual tall woman with blue eyes and strange uniform rescued him. Yeah, the story of people living, like, so you have multiple stories about, okay, so UFOs that aren't flying around or landing on, they literally fly into the mountain. Almost like they interdimensional,
like they phase through or something.
Through. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. You have stories of a joint base of human and alien. Underneath Mount Shasta, you have the Lemurian ancient lost civilization that found their city under there. There's an entrance to the Hollow Earth, many disappearance and reappearancing of people, a lot of ghosts. I mean, it's insane how much you get from this mountain, like this one mountain, how many different stories. It's really cool. But it's something maybe I'll put a little more effort into and we could do another time. But yeah, I've always found this type of stuff very interesting. I guess that's why I do shows on it. But
well, yeah, it's fascinating lore of crazy events in human history, because when you take a look at the stuff that's recorded, you wonder how did we make it this far?
Yeah, dude.
It's like it's not that the universe is trying to kill us. It's that we're doing this to each other.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Not just the universe, not just like interdimensional species. You know, so many different things. We do it to ourselves. We're good.
Do you think that's why we've been left alone for so long? Is like they're like, let's go conquer Earth. Oh wait, no, wait, they're doing it for us. Hold on.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Guys, let's see what happens first, and then we'll.
Well, I think they're like, why don't we hold off? Because these lunatics would just shoot a nuke instead of wait to see what we do. So, I think that's one of the reasons. If there is, extraterrestrial races, I mean, the universe is so big and so old that there has to be many solar systems so much older than ours, many galaxies that life started billions of years before us. So yeah, they could be billion years ahead of us.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be tragic if we're the most advanced life form in this area of life in
sad.
The known universe, because that would just be sad.
It would be sad. It makes me also, I don't even think we're the oldest planet with life in this solar system. I believe, there's more and more proof every day that Mars did hold an atmosphere for billions of years, and something may have happened to its core.
Lost its magnetic field, I think.
Yeah. And causing it to lose its atmosphere. And you have people that just rip that apart and they're like completely against it. But Soul Assassin sent me a link to a picture, and I'll show this guy's Chris Ramsey, I believe his name is. Give him he doesn't need me giving him a shout out, but so this is a picture. Now they have been enhanced a little bit. I don't know if this one has. I know this one has.
That's definitely been, yeah.
Yeah. But this is on Mars. It is a picture on Mars from NASA, I believe. And it just shows quite a few right angles, almost walls, if you look at it.
Yep.
And who's to say, how, I mean, it would be really hard to find any structure that was created a billion years ago. But if you are going to find something, it would be just rubble pretty much. But this could be a structure that was once inhabited by a race of people. I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that we have weird places on Earth that at first we assumed it was something that we carved out, but ends up becoming a natural phenomenon with regards to nature itself. Like there's steps on mountains that are well squared off, but they were not carved by man. It was just erosion over time. What's also fascinating is you got geometrical shapes in the poles of some planets that we've discovered.
Oh yeah,
naturally forming hexagons. One of the things, like I think the whole ambition to go to Mars is actually quite fascinating. But one of the things that I worry about it is that it will lead to a division of our species, because if you are born and raised on Mars, even if you have to terraform it, because of its weaker gravity, no Martian could survive on Earth, because the force of gravity would probably cause their heart to explode.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to be a multiplanetary species, your terraforming efforts have to go to the point where you are able to somehow replicate the gravity of Earth onto a new planet, so that as a multi-planet species, that species can actually literally go to other planets.
Yeah. What was that show on Sci-Fi that they inhabited Earth, Mars, and the asteroid belt?
Oh, that'd be The Expanse.
Yeah. They did it really well. Like people were lankier in the asteroid belt and taller because of less gravity. Martians coming to Earth, like they had
to get drugs and bone stuff. Yeah. They could
But
only
you
last for a few hours before they had to leave. I mean, it's true to that case. I mean, that's why I'm like, okay, so Elon says we're going to Mars. I'm thinking, well, you can't be born and live on Mars because you're then imprisoned on Mars.
Yes.
And or at least you're imprisoned to the point where you'll never be able to go to Earth for more than a very short amount of time. But if you're able to find a way to either create artificial gravity or find a way to terraform Mars so that it has a natural gravity that is equivalent to Earth, even though it's years, about 500 days in length, you would then be able to say, yes, you can go vacation on Mars for a couple of weeks and it not be detrimental to your health, and vice versa.
Right.
Because that's how you would want to do that. That's the ideal way. Otherwise, what you're looking at is, okay, bare minimum terraforming aspects, but you're creating a subspecies, not like as in Bordeaux.
That's what I was about to
another
ask
species
you.
that would be, stuck on that planet or planets of equal gravity value. And it's like, well, then as multiplanetary as you are, you're now separating the species by way of different planets. I mean, once we become multiplanetary, we are no longer humans. We are now Terrans because we're native to Terra, Earth, and then Martians, and then you've got Titans for the Titan, the next one. Then you have Ceres, the planetoid that's in the asteroid belt, and any other moons that are around the area, Io and what have you.
Titan's an interesting one too. Like being that far away from the sun, we would have to evolve to something different to be able to live there. I mean, it is an ice, right? It's an ocean based deep underneath the ice.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of natural resources there, but because it's so far away from the sun, the heat is not as strong, and the light is also diminished greatly because of how far away it is. So you'd need to have essentially a type of artificial sun that also doesn't have a gravity impact that screws up the solar system.
Yeah. I mean, there was another movie where they were actually like changing them from human beings to be able to live on Titan. It's with the guy, I can't think of a movie he's in now. Shit. I'll have to think of this another day, but yeah, it was a movie. I think it was like a Netflix one where, they took a small group of people and literally was changing their DNA over time so that they would be able to just go to Titan and live. Like literally they almost turned into like this weird fish being. I don't know. Ooh. It was cool. Yeah, it was an interesting one. No, not yeah, it was the Avatar guy. What's his name?
James Cameron?
No, the actor.
Oh, Sam Worthington?
Yeah, Sam Worthington was in that movie. Yep.
Huh.
Yep. So if you want to check it out, definitely check it out. But I agree with you. We would no longer be Earthlings or humans. It would have to be, I would guess, a subspecies, like you said. I was wondering, would you evolve in Mars? You wouldn't evolve enough to be considered a different form of Homo sapien, right?
You'd still be genetically identical. You'd just be restricted from being able to survive on planets with a higher gravity, which would be, I mean, that's the Goldilocks zone that we're in, is that our gravity and our atmosphere and our relative distance from the sun, or based on the intensity of the sun, is how our life essentially evolved. And if we want to go onto other planets, the ideal conditions are to find stuff within those Goldilocks parameters. But to find a place like Mars, which is a little bit smaller than Earth, because Venus is actually closer in size, right? But Venus is a death trap.
Yeah,
Mars is slightly less of a death trap because it has an atmosphere that is much thinner than anything we've seen before. Like, I mean, obviously the moon has zero atmosphere, but it has a little bit more on Mars. But I mean, it has a massive surface area and
water,
and it has water. I mean, not enough, but it has some, to the point where you're like, you can work with that to generate an atmosphere. And the other part too is because that soil has been undisturbed for thousands of years, there might actually be a chance of nutrients in it, or something to that we could stimulate those nutrients so that we can actually create more farming. It'd be a beautiful farming planet. The only problem is that it would take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to ship that food to Earth. So you have to actually figure out a way to close that gap so it could actually be valuable.
Yeah. Now let me ask you, if to terraform it, there have been some ideas to almost like a greenhouse gas, by setting up and melting the poles. So the ice in the poles also pushing greenhouse gases into the air, but also melting the poles and pushing, water into the air, causing the atmosphere to thicken. I'm not a scientist. It sounds awesome to me though, but it would take so long.
They're thinking for the initial time, like if the theory is about how deep the ice is on the poles works, they would say, well, melt that because the ice is there, and the evaporation, the process with that, in addition to the gravity of Mars, should help kickstart a new atmosphere.
Right.
So basically, what they would say is, well, if we put in this like dirty industry on the planet, that will get the gravity will trap it at a certain height, which will allow us, if we melt ice, to create an atmosphere.
Right.
And it also might allow for enough heat to be trapped so that it sustains the temperature that we're used to on Earth.
Yeah.
That's a good theory, but that solves only a part of the problem. The other part too is, well, we don't know if we can sustain that atmosphere without having to have the dirty industry.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that we do know is that dirty industry, even though it could probably trap in heat, it does scale exponentially over time to the point where you actually might do more damage to your planet in an attempt to create the atmosphere. The other option being is that, again, it goes back to gravity. If you can increase the gravitational pull of Mars and the planet's density overall to match that of Earth, then importing ice from, say, the asteroid belt, because there's lots of it there, would actually be a better way to generate an atmosphere, because the water that was on Mars, if there was there before, it's gone.
Yes.
And
well, that was
you can't
my fear.
Regrow it back.
Yeah. You can't regrow it back. And if you do start melting the caps, what's to say you lose more through this light gravity and thin atmosphere than you actually keep in? So now you may be screwing yourself by releasing too much of the water into space. So that's a great idea. I didn't think of that.
But we actually have this benefit with the asteroid belt, because both of Mars's moons are incomplete moons. They're imperfect moons. They're not as round as ours. But you could grab material from them, and with force and pressure and gravity, you could reshape those moons so that additional mass might have an impact on Mars to help the gravity match that of Earth.
Right.
And then the other part too is, maybe there's matter. Maybe you can there's someone that's brilliant enough to find a way to resequence matter, which means that we can take matter we don't want on Earth and we can bring it over to Mars and resequence it to increase the density of the planet, and maybe even stimulate the core, because we theorize that Mars's core is actually a cold core. It's not hot, which is why there's no real life on it that we've been able to detect so far.
Drop some nukes down there.
You could, but a nuclear explosion is much different than what we normally expect is in Mars. The other part too is, how do we get to the core? We can't even get to Earth's core at this point.
Yeah, so but Earth's core is a lot hotter and a lot farther in. So, but
it is, but we also can't physically penetrate beneath the Earth's crust yet.
Right.
So like that's the other part too. So there's a whole slew of problems to address before you can make Mars a properly habitable place. However, it's not to say that you could have humans go to Mars, spend 6 months there, come back and on a rotational cycle, but there will be a lot of controversy for anyone that's born on that planet, because doctors and scientists would say you are condemning that child to never be able to step onto Earth ever again, because that world is so different than ours.
Yeah.
And there's a social issue to that. It's like, is that fair? Like right now we are restricted on Earth, but we can't go anywhere else. So we're okay with that. Right. But if you were to be born on another planet and find out that there is another planet that you'll never be able to go to, that's like theft of your soul and potential.
Yeah.
And so that has to be considered before we have to say, okay, like we're going to Mars, because one of the things that's explored in the books of The Expanse is that when you go to Mars and you create a colony on Mars and species on Mars, they become very disconnected from Earth. And as a result, that causes them to become resentful from Earth. And that's why you have a conflict between those planets. And it'd be ideal if we could learn from that speculative story and not repeat that by way of basically saying, yeah, we have another planet that we can go to, but we cannot have a dedicated species, a portion of our species on that planet, because we will go through the same issues that that the United States had with the UK. Back in the day, it's like, well, now we have two planets with two economies. Which economy, Earth's economy is obviously going to be more dominant than Mars. It's going to have an impact on Mars. But what if Mars wants to separate? Well, then now you've got a freaking you have a solar system civil war, which would be fought over decades because of how long it takes to get from one planet to the other.
Yeah, could be centuries.
And it'll never be resolved. But the way you resolve that is you basically say, you cannot, like, if you want to have kids on Earth until we can figure out a way where we can make sure that children on Mars can come back to Earth safely and live if they wanted to relocate back and forth.
Right.
That's not a problem we ever had on Earth.
Would you think it would be even first generation? Like, let's say two people go, they have their first child there. You think that child could never come back to Earth, or would it be generations?
I think that child, if it doesn't leave the planet within the first year of life, it would never survive on Earth.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right, huh?
Yeah. And so if you have a generation there, it's like that species, if they did come to Earth, it would have to be so short-lived of a stay, because again, the gravity, their heartbeat is beating at a weaker gravity than what they're used to.
Yep.
Than what they're designed to. And then when they come to Earth and there's that gravity, they're might have a heart attack.
Yeah. You can't let if you want that not to be considered something else, but a part of Earth, you would have to have birth and have your child raised to a certain age before they're allowed to go.
And then if they wanted to have children, they would have to leave Mars, come back to Earth, do that for a period, and then go back.
Yeah.
And it'd be a difficult cycle, but it'd be the only way to sustain consistency for the species, until some brilliant scientist figures out a way to basically like, oh, well, if we can't change the gravity of Mars, but we can create gravity plating, and we can start building cities on the surface of Mars with that gravity plating, and it's identical to Earth, then you have no problem.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he's asking you, Soul Assassin, if you saw the remake of Total Recall and if it's possible to have an elevator that runs between both planets. Yeah, that's impossible.
Well, yeah, it is impossible because
in Mars. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, wait, you mean an elevator? Oh, like a space elevator from Mars to like one of the moons?
No, I think the elevator went through the center of Mars to the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
If you can penetrate the Earth's the crust of Mars, yeah, you could do it. That's not a problem. I mean, that's just the biggest obstacle here is we just don't have anything strong enough to penetrate the Earth's crust to drill a hole through our core. Also, we don't even know what the ramifications are, because it is theorized, even though it's not 100% certain, that volcanoes might be directly connected to the core, and what's coming out is matter from that core. That's as lava. Like,
have I ever? I don't know if you were around when I talked about it, and I still haven't found it. But there is a scientific paper from I think the 70s that came out, and it hypothesized that it's more likely humans came from Mars than evolved on Earth, because of the issues we have. Like we're like no other species. Yes, pigs, rhinos, elephants, they burn, but we lost hair and the sun affects us. The sun burns our eyes. But yet if we were on Mars, because of the lighter, the less
intensity,
of the sun, it'd be a lot better, because it'd be more like right before twilight or dawn, or right after dawn. The gravity's less, so we wouldn't have back problems and the knee problems that humans seem to have. Our circadian rhythm, once we leave Earth and we're in, like, let's say on the space station, becomes 23.5 hours, which is the Martian day.
Martian day is about 25 hours, actually.
Oh, maybe that was it then. Yeah. I know it lines up with the Martian day. It just a lot of interesting similarities that we would be more likely to survive on a planet like Mars if it was habitable than we are on Earth.
I remember seeing something about that paper, but one of the things that kind of goes against it is the fact that our species is actually more akin to the lunar calendar than it is to the calendar that we abide by.
Maybe
today.
That was okay.
So the lunar calendar is a 28-day calendar, which means that we had to have 13 months at 28 days each, but every month would be every calendar day within each month would be identical. So so a Monday, January 1st would always be Monday, January 1st.
Gotcha.
Which means that we would probably go insane because there's no variety
Right.
to it.
Your birthday's always on a Wednesday.
Your birthday's always on that Wednesday.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, right.
Which is kind of, and the other part too is that even our lunar calendar doesn't adjust for the fact that our orbit around the sun is not static. It varies ever so slightly. That's why our year is 365.245 days. Like it's crazy. And that's also why Mars is like 534-day year. Venus's year is actually shorter than its day, because its day is like several days it takes for one rotation, but its year is shorter. But that's another part. Like Venus has a lot more similarities to Earth, except for the fact that it's got poisonous gas there. But if we could find a way, and it's also actually very valuable sulfuric gas, because we could actually use that for energy. So if there's a way to mine Venus of all of that, and use that energy for whatever, eventually you'd end up having a depleted Venus that could then be colonized.
Do we know how, if the gas reaches the planet's surface?
Oh no, the entire surface of Venus is a sulfuric gas.
Oh really?
Yeah, like we actually have probe images from the surface.
I thought a probe, was it us or Russia that tried to land a probe on Venus? So
I think both actually have.
So is there like a solid ground, or is it just gas?
No, there's a solid core. Yeah, it's a planet that actually has the same dimensions as Earth, except the atmosphere is deadly because it's sulfur gas and a whole bunch of other poisonous gases. But his atmosphere is as thick, covers as much of a range as Earth's atmosphere does from the surface to the end of the stratosphere. So it was just all poison gas.
So let's say we mine it. We get all the poison gas out.
Yeah.
It would still be much hotter than Earth, right?
Because it's closer to the sun. Yeah. But it's almost identical in circumference of Earth.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The only difference is that its rotation is incredibly slow.
So you're on the dark side.
Is pretty normal. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're on the dark side, it'd probably be pretty damn cold until you got to the next morning.
Yeah, you actually end up having to live on the meridian of the planet. And I mean, it's pretty cool. But again, if we had the technology where we could mine that gas and get rid of it and find out where the source is, and then divert it so that we can create a proper atmosphere, ideally we'd have enough technology to find a way to spin up that rotation so that every side of the planet gets 12 hours of sunlight.
That'd be crazy.
But again, those are all the cool stuff that science fiction and the theories would put together. And if we had more science fiction stories that talked about that, it might inspire people to get into the science field to see, hey, can we figure out a way to solve such a problem? Because we haven't had a surge in that area since the tech boom of the mid 90s, because everything diverted away from actual physical technology to digital technology.
That's, oh man, it's insane, right? I just everything about it. Like, I never knew that about Venus. I'm kind of excited to think if there would be a way to scrub it. That'd be very cool.
Oh, it'd be fantastic. I mean, one of the cool short stories of iRobot has a Venus story in there as well, where one of the protective shields has failed, and in order to save everybody, they have to get to the other base, but the robots calculate that it's too far away, so that it's safer to be here, but they'll die. So it didn't want to take the risk, so you had to reuse the laws of robotic logic to get them to be carried over to the other base at that risk so that they could survive.
Yeah. That's interesting. And I like, Brian brings up like the, Nibiru, the planet Nibiru, and the Anunnaki. There are a lot of culture and some religions that do say we were modified by aliens, I guess. I find those pretty interesting. And there is scientific proof that there is this ninth planet.
It's called Pluto.
Bring Pluto back, baby. But yeah, that may have a weird, like, where the solar system's usually like this, it's going more elliptical and in a different direction. Orbit around the sun. I always found that kind of interesting. There's so much we don't know. Some believe there's a dwarf star because there aren't many solar systems that have a single star in the middle. So some believe that there's the reason there's a certain pull on our solar system is because there may be a dwarf star, brown star, or
something outside of it that's counteracting it.
Yeah, like a sister star to our star, which is interesting. There's a lot of stuff we freaking don't know.
No, I mean, what's fascinating is we know more about our solar system, our galaxy, and the universe than we do about our own bodies.
Yeah. Matt Barr, I haven't seen you in a while, brother. Good to see you. Has his own channel. Check him out. He said, could you light a match there? Or is there not enough oxygen to start on Venus?
I don't think you could light a match on Venus.
Yeah.
Or if you could, it would not use oxygen to burn because there are other, because you don't need just oxygen to burn. There's other fuel sources there.
Yeah,
Sulfur would work. Yeah.
That's what suck. Spaceballs.
Actually, a giant vacuum like Spaceballs would be amazing. Like giant Mega Maid. Futurama has a joke about that where they have a satellite system that's like mining gas from Venus.
I mean, it's an interesting theory. It's something that if we develop far enough, we could. Soul says, I think Venus, Earth, Mars, and the planet that is now the asteroid belt were all habitable till something happened billions of years ago. I mean, there is a scar on Mars. We may have caught our moon from something like that. So yeah,
our Rocky Mountains are clearly the result of a massive impact.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that believe that upheaval is just insane, right? It's just they said it wouldn't have happened naturally where the tectonic plates are.
Yeah,
I've heard that before.
It's actually like because the Rocky Mountains are further east of where the major tectonic plates are, so it doesn't line up to what that would be.
No, and then the trench in the Pacific, some people thought that was a scar from a hit, but that would have evaporated. If it hit that hard, it would have evaporated our oceans. I don't know, maybe triggered an ice age. You never know.
Maybe it evaporated the oceans and created the atmosphere that we have.
You never know. That's true. Make Jupiter into Bespin from Empire Strikes Back and live in safe area in the Cloud City. I like it. Working on a new book with Dyson spheres and custom planets. This is cool stuff. That's awesome, dude.
Dyson spheres are fascinating. I like at first you think, oh, it's just like what they show in Next Generation. Then you read the paper, you're like, no, it's just a really large ring around the planet or around the star. You're like, that's still pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, I know we're gonna find stuff on Mars. I believe the Martian planet had something. Maybe not humanoids, maybe not to the
maybe
intelligence.
Animal life, really cool animal life, maybe.
Yeah. Just any animal life. I just want to. I believe after a billion years of not having an atmosphere, really, it's going to be dust. So the idea that it was once something and had oceans, I find that like even people, the artistic license people take to show what Mars may have looked like, it looks freaking awesome. And I don't know. I did that always had gotten in my mind that, wow, we would do pretty good on Mars if it had a solid atmosphere, even with the gravity, just a solid atmosphere that kind of resembles ours. Now you got me thinking about Venus.
And then it'd be even better if we could actually get there in less than a day. Because I mean, listen, he's like, you have to wait 2 years before you can travel there at 6 months. So I'm like, well, that's fine. But that's a lot of isolation from the rest of the species.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you can develop faster than light travel, or at least close to the speed of light travel, then you don't have to worry about that. It's like, oh yeah, it should be like a plane ride, a handful of hours.
Right. That would be so cool. I don't think it was Jupiter. I believe it was Saturn. People believe maybe been a failed star. And there's a lot of mythology around Saturn being bright and being a star in many ancient cultures. So that's something we could talk about one time too. Our moon was brought into place. Well, yeah, of course it was.
Could be.
Definitely. It's hollow. It's a spaceship.
Yeah, we saw Moonfall from Roland Emmerich. That's a real sting.
I mean, it is interesting that nothing, no matter the size of the asteroid impact, it never goes deeper than any of the others. They're all about the same depth, which is insane.
It's a very dense planet.
Yeah.
And the other part too, is also our protector. It's the reason why we're still alive. I mean, so the moon does rotate and it has a dark side that lasts longer than all the others, because if you want to know about that, it's 30 Days of Night on the Moon as depicted by Futurama, because even though one side always does face Earth,
it's because we're rotating at the
same. We're rotating in a weird rate to the point where when we don't have a moon in our sky, that's because the sun is hitting the dark side of the moon.
Right.
Because there's now light there. But then that's why we have the crescent moon, the half moon, the full moon, everything. That's when that moon is in alignment with the sun, so that its light is bouncing off the moon and hitting us. And that's how we see it.
We're the only planet, I believe, that we have found that if it has a moon, we only have one. Most every other planet we have ever, I don't even know if we've found one that has a moon that has one. Every other planet has at least two. In our solar system, outside of our solar system. That's one of the weird things. It's exactly 1/6 the distance of our moon.
Is about 1/6 away from,
yeah.
And it's also 1/6 gravity. Like there's it's an interesting.
And then like 1/4 the distance is from the sun. That's why it's like a perfect solar eclipse. Like it's insane how like mathematical our moon is, to the effect why people believe it's fake.
Well, that's also why mathematics is the language of the universe. So
it is. We have Matt Still. What's up, Matt? He says, if the earth isn't flat, standing upright really means we're standing sideways, and shouldn't gravity be keeping us flat on the ground?
It's a great point.
It is a great point. I mean, depending where you are, if you're on the North Pole, you're standing upright. No, maybe. That's a good question. If it isn't flat, standing upright really means we're standing sideways. I guess in a way, what happens if you were in Earth though? Come on, man. You got to think about all these things. Thank you for being here, Matt. People are saying octopus could be an alien species. Yes, that's one of the cool ones. The idea that octopus aren't from our planet. There was another scientific paper on that. We'll maybe talk about that. I got to write these things down because I always forget to, like, what are we going to talk about? We'll just do Hollow Earth again.
I mean, the thing is that there's so much of the sea we have yet to discover, but it's also more dangerous to discover what's in this under the sea than it is to go out in space, because you get crushed in the sea. In space, you get blown out, but you can patch a blowout before you get blown out. You can't do that in underwater. You're done.
No, you're freaking done. I went to Catholic high school. I do not remember them saying it was artificial.
I got to study for a brief time at Vatican City in 2008, and they were, I mean, what's crazy is there's a very big divide among all the sects of religion, but the cardinals and the bishops that I met up there were very pro science, and they definitely said that there's some reconciliation with like God's creation and science doesn't disprove God, nor does God disprove science, etc., etc. But they never mentioned anything about any of the planets being artificial. Right. They say that for as long as man has looked at the stars, there's always been the moon. So there are myths that from different cultures that the moon, there was a time before the moon. But I always wonder if there was a time we would have been spinning too fast. So how, you know what I mean? Well, it would have been spinning too fast, and our nights would be so dark that it would be, we would never venture out. And
yeah, but imagine all the stars you could see.
I mean, it'd be no different than the stars we see now. The moon would be just not blocking a couple of them.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Yeah, you got that. We see like 6 stars where I am. It sucks. I want to like take my kids out to the Grand Tetons or something like that so they could see what it really looks like.
That's the other part too. Like you have to be fortunate, because I mean, I fortunately live just outside the city, but there's a couple of spots and a couple of parks where once you get inside and you just stare up long enough, the light pollution kind of fades out and you can see the night sky and stars.
That's awesome.
And that's pretty cool. But hopefully one day we'll be able to solve light pollution and be like, oh yeah, look at that. We have a fully lit city at night.
Yeah.
But when you look just above the certain threshold, you can still see the night sky and stars. That'd be cool.
I'll tell you, the one time I really saw it clear, and it was weird that it was here in this place, but it was a little place called Block Island. And it's off the coast of Rhode Island and Massachusetts. And it has a little hill that has a campground we were Boy Scouts. It's like a Boy Scout little campsite. And because you're just above the light pollution on the island, like someone turned on these lights and it was just like, wow, that's what it's supposed to look like. it goes to show you light pollution actually takes us away from looking up at night and realizing how small we are. I think that is one of the detrimental things of light pollution.
It really is, because only when you go into downtown Toronto, the only way you're seeing the stars is if you're at the top of a penthouse.
Yeah. And even then,
even then you have to shut everything down,
Yep.
on your floor.
Yeah.
But I will say though, but when you do look out a lot across the city of Toronto at night from a penthouse, it is a gorgeous sight. It's almost kind of like a reflection of stars, but there's also various different colors, and it's also quite peaceful out there, but it's just not the same. However, you take a boat out to Lake Ontario, not now because it's frozen and also it's freaking cold, but you take a boat out there, and you look up, you can see the stars because the city's light pollution doesn't reach there at all. And it's only you only have to go maybe like half a kilometer out. It's like not that far. And there's tons of cool ferries that do that for you as well at night. Highly recommended if you ever visit the city.
I will definitely. That's very cool. I don't think Toronto, where have I don't know, the only place I've been in Canada is Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal's a great place too, but there's way more stripper joints in Montreal than there is anywhere else. So if you want something good for the kids.
Yeah, kids. I was a lot younger then. That was like millennial. That was 2000. We went there.
You go to Toronto, you feel like you're stepping into like the metropolis of the Superman comics. Because it's a lot of glass structures, very advanced, very, very, very clean. Even though crime has gone up in the city, it's still obscenely safe percentage in per capita to anywhere else on the continent. So, and there's a lot of hidden art and fascinating history and things to do all over. In fact, if you want to see like a hockey game, a baseball game, a basketball game, and a football game, they're all within like a block of each other if you wanted to.
That's like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a lot like that.
The city also has the very first stadium where the dome actually opens up to the night sky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is
it's really cool.
I just realized what time it is. It's almost 10:30 here and I have to work in the morning. So thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. I love having you here, Script. It's so much fun to talk to you. So I'm glad.
I love talking with you too, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad. I've been so busy, but I'm always glad when anyone reaches out to me on a DM, because I then answer and be like, yeah, I'll make time for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you are always welcome to jump on this show. So I appreciate it, man.
I'm always honored to be invited. It's great talking with you guys, and especially with the science fiction and the myth and all the cool legends. It's fun. This is what stimulates imagination.
And that's what we need, more of it. And and this guy said he was coming tonight, but no one knows where that guy went. But
I'm sure he's doing something very happy right now.
Yeah. Brian wants you to know you're awesome. So thank you, Brian. Brian's one of the best. Subscript, guys, don't forget to jump over to Mad's show. He's live right now. Sporking his Mars as hollow as Earth. Ooh. Ask me that question again next week, Liam. I'll think about that. But make sure you guys check out his Script Doctor's channel. Go over, see Mad. We'll talk to you next week, guys. Thank you.
Welcome to Aluminum Spork.
That's a Spork, everybody. Have a great night.
Mysteries come to talk.